So we're almost there. Day 4 of Royal Ascot's here, and as usual, I've got a Timeform expert alongside me to talk through the card and pick 6 winners.
That's the plan.
So it's the turn of our flat handicapper.
Yeah.
Matt Gardner,
Yeah.
We've been talking about our job titles this week. It's all very interesting, isn't it? We all seem to have differing titles. I think Simon Walker's changed as well, which is very confusing.
He did, yeah. He's head of tipping
now,
editor or something like that. Yeah. No, they all changed, didn't they? So yeah.
Resident TV focus man. I think that's the best thing to describe him.
Yeah.
So have you gone on so far this week?
Could have been better, I'll be honest, but that's always the case, isn't it? Couple of near misses, but it's not been too bad. Hopefully we can do a bit better today.
6 winners today,
That is the plan,
yeah.
Yeah, that'd do nicely.
Okay, so we'll dive straight into the first race of the day, a Group 3, Fillies Group 3, the Albany Stakes for 2-year-olds, and there's one with a lot of big reputation at the top of the market called Alpha Centauri. What's the angle in this race?
Absolutely, yeah, and I mean, like you say, she's a short price. She does come here with a big reputation, and to be honest, on Timeform ratings, it's fully justified. It's not often that you see a horse with so little form so far clear in one of these 2-year-old races. Not only is her form rock solid, it's being backed up by some really good time figures. She was really, really impressive at Naas last time. This is a different challenge. It's a bigger field. Obviously, it's more competitive, but judged on what she's achieved so far, she is fully justified being a short price favourite. Particularly when you factor in that further improvement that she's almost certainly got to come as well.
So there's another interesting one here as well called Clemmy, who is. I love how they've named this one Clemmy because she's the full sister to Churchill, and I believe Clemmy was the name of Churchill's wife. Is that right? Clementine.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right, yeah.
That's quite a nice touch, and she as well, I think, finished third in the same race on debut that Churchill did as well. So
she did. Yeah. She's an interesting one. Obviously, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Brave Anna winning this race. It wouldn't be the first time that Aidan O'Brien fires in a sort of relatively unknown one. She's coming in here on the back of just one run. She was third at the Curragh. She wore a tongue strap that time, and she really did catch the eye. Obviously, it's a massive step up. She's got a Timeform large P, suggesting we think that she's capable of a lot of improvement. If it's a large P, you factor in about a stone, 14 pounds there or thereabouts. Even that doesn't picture up to the likes of Alpha Centauri on what they've achieved already. But she is open to significant improvement. She was an eye catcher, and like I say, it's not rare for relatively unknown ones from these quarters to excel in these sort of races now.
But Alpha Centauri for you in this one?
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, just on what she's achieved so far, the others really don't match up to it. You've got the Wesley Ward horse, obviously Fairyland. It's quite a close race. It's quite tightly knit in behind her. Natural as well as another horse that's got the large P on as well. But you can't beat by an Alpha Centauri, I don't think.
So Jessica Harrington to continue her fine 2017 and in the first. And
absolutely.
Into the second race, the King Edward, I nearly read the 7th Stakes at a Group 2 contest. And we've got one here at the top of the market, which I believe is your next best as well, Crystal Ocean, who is related to a winner, Hillstar, who won this in 2013.
Yep.
So what's the case for this one?
Yeah, 2013 Hillstar, same connections, owners, trainers, obviously Sir Michael Stout. Crystal Ocean, on pedigree, he ticks all the boxes, and he's starting to do it on the track as well. He created a massive impression when he won a maiden at Nottingham on his reappearance, really, really easily. He went to the Dante, finished third behind Ben Battle and Permian. He actually shaped arguably best that day, and that says plenty considering what Ben Battle did yesterday. The step up to 1.5 miles is definitely going to suit, judged on the impression created in the Dante and on pedigree by Sea the Stars. There's plenty of, he's all stamina, all 1.5 miles horse. Obviously there was lots of talk about him for the Derby. There was a bit of punt on him, wasn't there? He didn't go there. This is his Derby really. He's up against Permian again. Best solution from the Derby. Sallowan from the Derby. For me, out of all these, he's the least exposed. He's got the most potential. I'm struggling to find any kind of negatives with him, really. I think he does tick a lot of boxes.
Okay, so Crystal Ocean in the second, and straight into the third race, and another interesting, fascinating Group 1 here because it's well, some will tell you it's a match race, some will tell you it's a three-way go, and some might even argue a case for the fourth in the favourite, the fourth in the market, the Wesley Ward runner. Yeah. What's your angle with this one?
On figures, it is a two-horse race. I think if you forget Caravaggio and Harry Angel, it's a really tightly knit Commonwealth Cup, and it's a good Commonwealth Cup. But those two are just exceptional, really, so far on what we've seen. They're slightly different in the sense that Harry Angel has had the chance to kind of let rip at Haydock, recorded a massive time figure as well. He was really, really impressive set of course. I think he broke the course record there, didn't he? Whereas Caravaggio, you think back 12 months how impressive he was winning the Coventry, just as impressive on his reappearance. He's got the P, Harry Angel doesn't. He's the one that retains that sort of untapped potential, and they're slightly different horses as well. You kind of know what Harry Angel's going to do. They let him rip at Haydock. He's got quite raw speed, hasn't he? He's quite a free going front, well, as he was there. And you think they're going to let him do that again because obviously it was so effective. Where Caravaggio's kind of that more controlled speed, I suppose. They seem to be able to put him where they want. Obviously, he sort of switched groups, didn't he, in the Coventry, I think, which shows just
managed to, I think he won 2 races, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He went from that group, kind of smashed those out of sight, and then went over and sort of did it again. And that just sort of shows how flexible he is. And I think he's the more polished, I suppose. Harry Angel's not had that many starts, obviously still. But I think of the two, Caravaggio is potentially the slightly better horse, and I think he's got slightly more room for improvement, and they've got a clear break on the rest on Timeform figures. It shows in the market. You're not saying anything obvious there, but of the two, I probably would be siding with Caravaggio.
Now I know a few people, shrewdies you could say, quite fancy this Blue Point as well, who of course beat Harry Angel earlier in the season. Has Harry Angel graduated past him now with that run at Haydock?
Yeah, absolutely. Blue Point, he's rock solid. There's absolutely nothing wrong with his form. You look at his last 4 starts, last 5 starts even, they're all roughly on a par with each other, showing really smart form. Because he's had more runs, and we kind of think that we're at the limit of his ability. Harry Angel, what Harry Angel did at Haydock superseded what Blue Point has ever shown, and what you kind of think he might be capable of. That's not a slight on Blue Point. That's more just saying that Harry Angel is very talented. And like you say, you've got the Wesley Ward horse in there, bound for nowhere. He also has the P on. Obviously, you don't really know, do you? We've seen this week some have run brilliantly, some have been slightly disappointing. He's going to have to be good to match Harry Angel and Caravaggio. I think that's what you can say with certainty. But he might be. We don't know.
So, a confident vote for Caravaggio. Is it Caravaggio?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I say, we had a bit of a chat. I mean, when we had the handicappers meet, we had a bit of a chat with him. We kind of thought that Caravaggio might be the better horse, and that we've made him top rated. And like I say, just that more sort of controlled speed. I think slightly more polished performer is that just gives him the edge for me.
Okay, so from one Group 1 to another, and another Coolmore runner at the top of the market here, Winter, of course, did the Guineas double earlier in the season. She reopposes one of the horses she beat at Newmarket, Dabia, who's second favourite. She's 1 to 2. Can anything get near her?
You wouldn't have thought so on previous impressions. She's potentially a top class filly, isn't she? Obviously surprised a few in the Guineas. Including myself, to be honest, and then more than back that up in the Irish Guineas. I thought, she obviously it wasn't as deep a field, but I think she was almost more impressive for me that day. That she just looked completely different gear, and on that form she sets a clear standard. And I mean, Dabia is interesting in her own right. Obviously, she won the Fred Darling. I think she had some sort of minor niggle to miss the French Guineas, didn't she? So she comes here with her potential still intact. She's going to have to take a massive step forward to get to Winter, and that's before Winter improves again, which she's almost certainly capable of doing. Of the rest, you've got the French filly, who I'm going to let you pronounce rather than...
Précieuse?
There you go, nailed it. I mean, she... again, caused a few surprises when she won a listed race last time. That was on good to soft. Whether she can do that on a quicker surface will be the doubt. Other than that, I think the rest are going to struggle with Winter, to be honest.
And have you got us a Jon Snow impression for us, or are you going to respectfully decline?
I'm going to decline. I might let you do. You were claiming that you had a good one before.
Well, I don't know about good one, but it's just a case of getting the Yorkshire accent out, really, isn't it? And, you know, like, calming your friend. I mean, if the Timeform bosses see this, they might not be overly impressed, but, you know, winter is coming.
You're in the wrong job, mate.
I know. So on to the fifth race of the day, the Queen's Vase, wide open market. This Belgravia at the moment is the 6-1 favourite. Where do you stand with these?
It's an interesting race. I think firstly the first thing to point out is it's billed as a Group 2. Formerly a Group 3. Last few years it's been a listed race. And I think on what they've achieved so far, it's essentially kind of still a listed race, really. For all that it is graded as a Group 2. It's open, I think. It's really tight in it. Desert Skyline's the one that's top on the Timeform figures. His best performance comes from a listed race, so that kind of sets the stand a little bit. That you in terms of what you're talking for a guide of form. He showed well in a handicap at Epsom last time, but he's still open to some improvement, and you think this sort of trip's going to suit. But for me, there's no real standout in here, which is why my long shot is Alkmaar.
33-1.
Yeah. And you think, right, big step up from winning a York handicap off 76 to a Group 2, but like we said, it's not really a Group 2 at the moment. Obviously, something's going to graduate to potentially that level, but we don't know. So when you think, right, handicap to sort of listed level, you can sort of see that a little bit more. And he was really impressive, first time cheap pieces up to 1.5 miles. He didn't beat all that much, but what he did beat, he did it very easily. He's certain to be suited by this sort of trip, stepping up, another couple of furlongs. His dam's related to the Oaks winner Kazia, loads of stamina in his pedigree. And, you think of him in the market 33-1, but what he's achieved on Timeform figures is the equal of both Wisconsin and Secret Advisor, and they're 10s, 12s, thereabouts. So it sort of shows that Alkmaar's, for me, he's massively overpriced. He might not be good enough. He probably won't be good enough, I don't know, but I think at that sort of price he's definitely worth an each way on. In terms of other ones that are interesting, I think the horse whose form is working out really well is Time to Study. He was third in a really strong Newbury handicap. He then went and won up at Musselburgh. Two horses have already come out and won since. Alabaster won last night. He was second or third, I think he was that day. That form's working out really, really well. And he's definitely going to be open to further progress as well. So it's wide open. Plenty are open to improvement, but it's definitely the sort of race where, for me, it's worth taking a stab on a big price one, and Alkmaar fits the bill. So
Alkmaar at 33-1 in a wide open renewal of the Queen Vase. And we move on to the final race of the day, which generally has been a killer this week, but Jamie Lynch's nap came yesterday in the last race of the day, and it of course delivered, and your nap is in this race as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is the horse that I've been looking forward to all week. Wadigo, for Roger Varian. He's a horse that I kind of got a little bit of an affinity with, in that every time he's run I've kind of had something to do with him one way or the other. He won a Wolverhampton Maiden last year, and he kind of thought, right, it's a good start point. He didn't look anything out of the ordinary that day, and then what really kind of lit the fire was when he won at Newmarket. He was still green, but he absolutely smashed to pieces a couple of banging form older horses. He won by 7 lengths. Rotherwick, who has barely put a foot wrong since, was second. Van Huysen, who progressed really well on All Wither over the winter, he was third. And Wadigo just absolutely laughed at them. He was really impressive. He came back at Kempton this year, overcame both residual greenness and a steadily run race to win with plenty in hand. He only won by a length and a half, but he was valued for a lot more than that. It's a race today that often takes a group horse. You look at Arab Dawn, Arab Spring that have won it in recent years, both looking like group horses. And I think for me, you know, the likes of 60s Groove, Appear, Top Tug, they're all interesting, solid handicappers, particularly 60s Groove, who shaped pretty well at Epsom. But I think if there's a group horse in here, it's Wadigo. And I think for me, this is going to be his last start in handicaps. Hopefully I'm right. I don't we'll see. But I've just been really, really impressed with him, and I think this can be kind of his next step on that progressive curve towards, you know, Group 3, Group 2 level.
Okay, so Wadigo in the final race, and I've had a couple of comments just asking to quickly run through. So it's Alpha Centauri in the Albany Stakes.
Yep.
Crystal Ocean is your next best.
Yes, yeah, I do like
King
him a lot,
Edward.
yeah.
Yeah, Caravaggio to oust Harry Angel in the third.
Yep.
Winter is Coming in the fourth.
Absolutely.
Your long shot comes in the Queen's Vase, Alkmaar.
Yep.
And then closing the card with the nap, Wadigo.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully 6 winners, or
Fingers crossed.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
fingers crossed. I'll take one.
5 winners in the long shot hitting the frame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
that'll be- yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to run around and turn the camera off, so you just look busy.
Do that.
Oh.